Travel to Europe is about to change in a very big way, and if you're planning a trip in 2026 or beyond, what you don't know could seriously disrupt your journey. For decades, traveling to Europe felt simple. You booked a ticket, packed your bags, showed your passport, and went. But those days are ending. Starting in 2026, new digital travel systems are being rolled out across Europe and the UK, and many travelers are completely unaware of how much these changes will affect them. We're talking about new pre-approvals, biometric tracking, entry limits, and digital records that follow you across borders. Systems like ETIAS, EES, and the UK ETA are not optional, and airlines will not bend the rules if you show up unprepared. If you arrive at the airport without the right approval, you won't be allowed to board. It's that simple. What makes this even more confusing is that these changes don't apply equally everywhere. Some countries are in the European Union, some are in the Schengen area, some are not, and the UK now follows its own separate rules. Many experienced travelers assume they'll figure it out at the airport, but that assumption could cost them their entire trip. Seniors, frequent flyers, and even seasoned international travelers are being caught off guard because these systems are new, digital, and easy to misunderstand. Airlines won't explain them clearly, governments use confusing language, and official websites are often overwhelming. That's why this video matters. In the next few minutes, we're breaking down exactly what's changing, what you'll need to do before you fly, and how to avoid being denied boarding or entry. These aren't rumors or future ideas, these are real systems being implemented right now. If Europe is on your travel list for 2026, you need to understand what's coming before it's too late. If you find this kind of honest travel advice helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos, hit like to support the content, and share this with someone who travels often. 1. ETIAS will be mandatory for most travelers entering Europe. ETIAS is one of the biggest changes coming to European travel, and most travelers still don't fully understand what it is. ETIAS stands for European Travel Information and Authorization System. Starting in 2026, travelers from visa-free countries, including the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, and many others, will need ETIAS approval before entering most European countries. This is not a visa, but it is not optional either. Without ETIAS, airlines will not allow you to board your flight. Many people assume they can apply on arrival or handle it at passport control, but that is not how it works. ETIAS must be approved before you travel. The application is done online, but that doesn't mean it's instant for everyone. While many approvals may come quickly, some applications will be delayed for manual review. If you wait until the last minute, you risk missing your flight entirely. Another important detail is validity. ETIAS is expected to be valid for multiple years, but it is tied to your passport. If your passport expires or is renewed, your ETIAS becomes invalid and must be reapplied for. Seniors often overlook this detail and assume their approval carries over. It does not. Another hidden issue is criminal history questions. Even minor past issues can trigger delays or additional screening. ETIAS also tracks how long you stay in the Schengen area, and overstaying can impact future approvals. Airlines are required to check ETIAS status before boarding, and they are fined if they transport passengers without it. That means no exceptions, no negotiations, and no sympathy at the gate. ETIAS changes Europe from a show-up-and-go destination into a pre-approved system. If you don't plan ahead, your trip can end before it begins. 2. EES will track your face, fingerprints, and every entry and exit. The entry-exit system, known as EES, is another major change travelers are not prepared for. Unlike ETIAS, which is about permission before travel, EES is about tracking once you arrive. EES replaces the traditional passport stamping system with a fully digital biometric system. When you enter Europe, your facial image and fingerprints will be recorded. Every entry and exit will be logged automatically. This system applies to non-EU travelers, including tourists. Many travelers assume this is only for security threats, but it applies to everyone. The goal is to strictly enforce the 90 days in 180 days rule in the Schengen area. In the past, passport stamps were often missed or unclear, allowing travelers to unintentionally overstay. That loophole is gone. EES will calculate your stay precisely. If you overstay, even by accident, it will be recorded and can affect future travel. Seniors who spend extended time visiting family or traveling slowly across Europe are especially at risk if they don't track days carefully. Another major change is border delays. The first time you use EES, Expect longer lines as biometric data is collected. Airports and land borders may experience congestion, especially during peak travel seasons. This also affects cruise passengers and train travelers entering Europe. Another overlooked issue is refusal of entry. If EES flags an overstay or mismatch, border officers can deny entry on the spot. There is no appeal desk at the airport. Everything is automated and centralized. Travelers can no longer rely on friendly discretion or human error. EES creates a permanent digital record of your travel behavior. If you follow the rules, you'll move smoothly. If you don't, future trips to Europe may become much harder. 3. UK ETA will be required. Even if you're just transiting, the United Kingdom's new electronic travel authorization, known as the UK ETA, is one of the most misunderstood changes coming in 2026. Many travelers wrongly assume this only applies to people visiting the UK as a destination. That assumption can cost you your entire trip. The UK ETA will be required for travelers from visa-free countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and many others, even if you are only transiting through a UK airport. If your flight itinerary includes a stop in London, Manchester, or any UK airport where you pass through border control, you may need an approved ETA before boarding your first flight. Airlines will check this at departure, not in the UK. If you don't have it, you will not be allowed to fly. The ETA application is digital, but approval is not guaranteed to be instant. Some applications will be flagged for manual review, which can take days. Another overlooked detail is passport linkage. The ETA is tied directly to your passport number. If you renew or replace your passport, your ETA becomes invalid, and you must apply again. Seniors often overlook this because they renew passports more frequently. Another issue is itinerary changes. If your airline reroutes you through the UK unexpectedly due to delays or cancellations, not having an ETA could prevent rebooking. Airlines may not be able to help you in that situation. Another hidden risk is misunderstanding airside transit rules. Some travelers believe staying airside avoids ETA requirements, but this depends on nationality and airport rules. Airlines apply the strictest interpretation to avoid fines. The UK ETA is valid for multiple trips, but only while your passport remains valid. It does not grant the right to work, stay long-term, or enter Ireland automatically. The UK is no longer part of the EU or Schengen, and its rules are completely separate. Travelers who lump Europe and the UK together are making a costly mistake. The UK ETA turns even short stopovers into pre-approved events. Planning ahead is no longer optional. 4. Your length of stay will be calculated automatically without mercy. One of the biggest shocks for travelers in 2026 will be how strictly Europe enforces length of stay limits. With the introduction of EES and ETIAS working together, every day you spend in the Schengen area will be tracked automatically. The old system relied on passport stamps, which were often missed or unclear. That flexibility is gone. The rule remains 90 days within any 180-day period, but enforcement will be exact down to the day. There will be no benefit of the doubt. Seniors who travel slowly, spend extended time with family, or take long multi-country trips are especially vulnerable to accidental overstays. Another common mistake is misunderstanding resets. Leaving Europe does not automatically reset your days. The system looks backward over a rolling 180-day window. Many travelers miscalculate and assume a new trip means a fresh allowance. It does not. Another overlooked issue is border hopping. Visiting non-Schengen countries like the UK, Ireland, or Croatia does not always stop the Schengen clock the way people expect. EES tracks entries and exits across the entire zone. Another risk is future denial. Overstaying even once can affect future ETIAS approvals. The system remembers. Border agents no longer rely on manual judgment. The computer tells them if you are compliant or not. Another hidden consequence is insurance and healthcare access. Overstaying can invalidate travel insurance policies without you realizing it. Another issue is cruise travel. Many cruise passengers assume the ship handles compliance, but EES still tracks individual entries at ports. Train and road crossings are also included. There are no loopholes. Travelers who previously relied on flexibility must now plan precisely. Keeping a personal travel log is no longer optional. Apps, calendars, and reminders become essential tools. Europe is moving toward a zero-tolerance system for overstays. If you follow the rules, travel will be smooth. If you miscalculate even slightly, consequences can follow you for years. 5. Airlines will deny boarding before you ever reach Europe. One of the most dangerous misunderstandings about the 2026 Europe travel changes is where enforcement actually happens. Many travelers assume border control officers in Europe will be the ones checking ETIAS, EES, or UK ETA compliance. In reality, the first and strictest enforcement point is the airline check-in counter. Airlines are legally required to verify that passengers have the correct digital authorizations before boarding. If they fail to do so, they face heavy fines and must transport denied passengers back at their own expense. Because of this, airlines enforce the rules aggressively and without flexibility. If your ETIAS, UK ETA, or passport details don't match exactly, the airline will deny boarding immediately. There is no appeal, no supervisor override, and no, "I'll fix it when I land." Seniors are often caught off guard because they expect human understanding, but airline staff are following automated system prompts. Another hidden issue is name mismatches. Even small differences between your passport name and your booking can trigger denial if the system can't verify authorization. Middle names, hyphens, and spelling errors suddenly matter far more than before. Another problem is last-minute approvals. Even if your ETIAS or ETA is approved minutes before departure, airline systems may not refresh in time. If the system doesn't show approval at check-in, you won't fly. Another overlooked issue is group travel. If one person in your group lacks proper authorization, airlines may separate bookings or deny boarding selectively, causing chaos. Airlines won't delay flights to wait for approvals. They prioritize on-time departures. Another risk is relying on third-party booking sites that don't remind you of authorization requirements. Airlines assume you know the rules. They won't notify you proactively. In 2026, boarding a plane to Europe becomes a compliance check, not just a ticket scan. The airport becomes the final gatekeeper, and airlines are the enforcers. Travelers who prepare early pass through quietly. Those who don't never leave the ground. 6. Passport validity rules will be enforced more strictly than ever. Passport validity has always mattered for international travel, but in 2026 it becomes absolutely unforgiving. Many travelers believe their passport only needs to be valid for the length of their stay. That is incorrect for most European countries. With ETIAS and EES fully active, systems will automatically check passport expiration dates against entry rules. Most Schengen countries require passports to be valid for at least 3 months beyond your planned departure date, and some effectively enforce 6 months. If your passport does not meet this requirement, airlines will deny boarding before you even reach Europe. Seniors are especially affected because their passports often expire sooner due to earlier renewals or name changes. Another overlooked detail is passport condition. Damaged passports that might have been accepted in the past may now be flagged by automated systems. Torn pages, water damage, loose bindings, or worn biometric chips can cause system errors. Another hidden risk is recently renewed passports. If you applied for ETIAS or UK ETA using an old passport number and then renewed it, your authorization becomes invalid. You must reapply. Many travelers miss this step. Another issue is emergency passports. Temporary or emergency passports may not be accepted for ETIAS or entry into certain countries. Airlines will err on the side of denial. Another complication is dual citizenship. Using different passports for booking and travel can cause system mismatches. The passport you use for authorization must be the one you travel with. Another overlooked rule involves blank pages. Some countries still require 1 or 2 blank pages, and automated checks may flag insufficient space. Passport rules are no longer loosely interpreted by humans. They are enforced by systems that do not make exceptions. In 2026, your passport isn't just a document, it's a digital key. If it doesn't meet every requirement, the door stays closed. 7. Border delays will increase dramatically. During the transition period, one of the biggest shocks travelers will face in 2026 is how much longer border crossings can take, especially during the early rollout of ETIAS, EES, and UK ETA. Governments rarely emphasize this part, but anytime a new, large-scale digital system is introduced, delays are inevitable. The first time you enter Europe under EES, your biometric data must be captured. That means facial scans, fingerprint collection, and data verification, all done at the border. Even if each traveler only takes a few extra minutes, those minutes add up fast when hundreds of passengers arrive at once. Seniors may find this especially stressful, as standing in long lines or navigating crowded arrival halls can be physically demanding. Another issue is system learning curves. Border agents themselves are adapting to new technology, new screens, and new procedures. Early mistakes, system slowdowns, and temporary outages are expected. During peak travel seasons, airports may struggle to keep lines moving. Another overlooked problem is cruise and train arrivals. Many travelers assume airports are the only places affected, but EES applies to land borders, seaports, and rail crossings as well. A cruise docking early in the morning can suddenly face hours-long immigration delays. Another hidden impact is missed connections. If your arrival process takes longer than expected, onward flights or trains may be missed, and airlines are not required required to compensate if the delay is caused by border control. Another concern is accessibility. Not all border facilities are fully optimized for seniors or travelers with mobility challenges, especially during system rollouts. Even travelers who are fully compliant can experience stress simply due to volume and congestion. This is why arrival timing matters more than ever. Flying into Europe early in the day or midweek may reduce exposure to long waits. Planning buffer time into itineraries becomes essential. Europe's borders are becoming more secure and more automated. But automation doesn't always mean faster, especially at the beginning. Travelers who understand this will arrive calmer and better prepared. Those who expect business as usual may feel overwhelmed the moment they land. 8. Travel planning will require digital readiness, not just documents. Another major shift in 2026 is that successful travel to Europe increasingly depends on digital readiness. Having a passport and ticket is no longer enough. Travelers must be comfortable with online applications, email confirmations, digital records, and system updates. ETIAS and UK ETA applications are completed online, and approval notices are delivered electronically. If you miss an email, lose access to an account, or mistype information, the system doesn't adjust for you. Seniors who are less comfortable with digital platforms may feel at a disadvantage, but preparation can eliminate most problems. Another issue is device dependence. While approvals are digitally stored, airlines may ask for confirmation numbers or documentation during system outages. If your phone battery is dead or you can't access your email, stress levels rise quickly. Another overlooked detail is shared email addresses. Couples or families using one email account can accidentally miss important updates or denial notices. Another risk is misinformation. Fake websites and scams pretending to offer ETIAS or ETA services are already appearing. Using unofficial sites can lead to overcharging or incorrect submissions. Another complication is language. Official portals may not always be clear or user-friendly, leading to errors during application. Once submitted, some mistakes cannot be corrected and require starting over. Another hidden issue is travel agents. Some travelers assume agents handle everything, but many agents do not apply for ETIAS or ETA on behalf of clients unless specifically requested. Responsibility ultimately falls on the traveler. Digital readiness also includes monitoring rule changes. These systems may evolve, and requirements can be updated. Travelers who stay informed will adapt smoothly. Europe in 2026 rewards preparation and penalizes assumption. When you embrace digital tools early, travel becomes easier. When you resist or delay, small technical issues can become trip-ending problems. 9. Travel insurance, healthcare, and proof of funds will be checked more often. One change many travelers don't expect in 2026 is increased scrutiny around travel insurance, healthcare coverage, and proof of funds when entering Europe. While these requirements technically existed before, enforcement was inconsistent. With ETIAS and EES creating a fully digital traveler profile, border officers now see more information at once, which increases the likelihood of additional questions. Travelers, especially seniors, may be asked to prove they can financially support themselves during their stay, and that they have valid health coverage. Many people assume their credit card or verbal explanation is enough, but that assumption can backfire. Proof of funds may include bank statements, credit card limits, or evidence of prepaid accommodations. Another overlooked issue is insurance exclusions. Some policies do not cover extended stays, pre-existing conditions, or certain activities. Border officials don't evaluate fine print, but if you clearly lack coverage, entry can be questioned. Another risk involves length of stay. Travelers planning long visits may be asked how they will support themselves without working. With EES tracking exact durations, authorities are more alert to people who appear to be living in Europe on tourist status. Another hidden issue is medical documentation. Seniors traveling with medications or known conditions may face questions if they cannot explain treatment plans or insurance coverage. Another complication is misinformation. Travelers often rely on outdated advice from friends or blogs written before these systems existed. In 2026, border control has better data and less tolerance for uncertainty. Another problem is assuming hotels or tour operators provide coverage. They do not. Responsibility rests entirely with the traveler. Another overlooked detail is return tickets. One-way tickets without proof of onward travel can raise red flags. Border officers may interpret this as intent to overstay. Digital systems make inconsistencies easier to spot. Travelers who arrive organized, insured, and financially prepared are processed quickly. Those who appear uncertain may face delays or denial. Europe is not trying to discourage tourism, but it is demanding responsibility. Preparing documents in advance transforms inspections from stressful interrogations into routine formalities. In 2026, being prepared is not optional, it is expected. 10. Europe travel will reward early planning and penalize assumptions. The final and most important change coming in 2026 is not a single rule, but a mindset shift. Europe travel is moving away from flexibility and toward precision. Travelers who plan early, verify details, and double-check requirements will experience smooth journeys. Those who rely on assumptions, past experiences, or last-minute fixes will face frustration. Systems like ETIAS, EES, and UK ETA don't care how many times you've traveled before. They treat everyone the same. Another major change is accountability. Travelers can no longer blame confusion or ignorance. Requirements are published, digitally enforced, and checked before departure. Another issue is complacency. Frequent travelers often skip preparation because it worked last time. In 2026, last time doesn't matter. Another overlooked shift is how mistakes compound. A small error, like a passport mismatch, can cascade into denied boarding, missed connections, and lost expenses. Airlines, border agents, and insurers are less likely to make exceptions because systems are automated. Another challenge is emotional readiness. Many travelers feel anxious when routines change. Seniors may feel overwhelmed by digital processes, but those who adapt early gain confidence. Another benefit of planning ahead is cost savings. Applying early avoids rush fees, rebooking costs, and last-minute hotel losses. Another important change is shared responsibility. Airlines, governments, and travelers all play a role, but the final burden falls on the passenger. Europe in 2026 rewards those who treat travel like a process, not a gamble. When you respect timelines, rules, and documentation, travel remains enjoyable. When you ignore them, consequences are immediate. The future of Europe travel is not about fear, it's about preparation. Those who adapt will continue exploring effortlessly. Those who don't may find themselves watching their plane leave without them. As travel rules continue to evolve, one thing is becoming very clear. Europe in 2026 is not the same destination it used to be. The days of showing up with just a passport and a plane ticket are over. Systems like ETIAS, EES, and the UK ETA are reshaping how travelers enter, move, and stay across Europe. And those who prepare early will feel the difference immediately. This isn't about making travel harder, it's about making it more controlled and predictable. When you understand the rules, follow timelines, and organize your documents, travel can still be smooth, exciting, and stress-free. But when travelers rely on old habits or assumptions, small oversights can quickly turn into canceled trips and lost money. That's why staying informed matters now more than ever. If this video helped you understand what's changing and how to prepare, make sure to support the channel by hitting the like button, because it helps this information reach more travelers who need it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates, especially as international travel rules continue to change leading into 2026 and beyond. And don't forget to share this video with friends or family planning a European trip, because these changes can catch anyone off guard. Thanks for watching.